What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Stampede Airsoft. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Modfiy Tech PP-2,000. The Modfiy PP-2,000 is an exact one-to-one replica of the real-world firearm of the exact same name. Made by KBP Instrument Design Bureau and put into service in 2006, these PDW/SMGs have seen very limited use in the special forces from Armenia and Kyrgyzstan and are used alongside the PP-19 Vityaz in some Russian law enforcement units. But nearly 15 years later, after being originally put into service in the real firearms world, Modfiy has finally made an airsoft version. And with this replica, Modfiy has replicated a lot of the features and functionalities from the real steel PP-2000 into this airsoft version. So going, just like we always do, from tip to butt, at the front of these SMGs, you have your federally mandated orange tip. This one on the middle here has its orange tip taken off and replaced with a Noveski amplifier, just so you can kind of show what you can put on there other than just the orange tip. Underneath that orange tip are standard 14mm negative or counterclockwise threads, so allowing you to put any vast amounts of different muzzle devices on, from this Noveski amplifier, suppressors, or even regular muzzle brakes. Moving back to the main body of the gun, the upper receiver up here, so all of your bolt and top rail components are full metal, where the lower receiver, so this back part and the grip area, are made out of polymer. Right here behind where you'd find your orange tip is your front sight post. So, and then further back on the rifle, just behind where the charging handle is your rear sight. They're quite low and kind of low profile, so they're a little bit difficult to line up, but they're very adequate iron sights. However, on the top here, you do have a nice standard Picatinny rail, so you can mount any optic that you want to that, so you don't have to use those iron sights. Right here behind the front iron sight is your charging handle. So it is very reminiscent to the charging handle of something like the G3 or any of those guns that have charging handles that you pull out to the side before you cock them back. So you are able to pull it out to either side, making this a kind of ambidextrous gun in that way. One thing Modfiy did note when we opened up these guns is that if the gun is on safe and you try to pull the charging handle back, it is possible to get it jammed inside of the gun, possibly damaging some of the internal components. So make sure the gun is flipped to either full auto or semi before you try to charge this gun. Just below that, you have this interesting little foregrip area right here. It is quite comfortable and does give you enough room to fit 4 out of 5 of your fingers, everything except for your thumb. And aftermarket, Modfiy does sell a flashlight attachment that does clip into this foregrip right here. That will be something that we will be getting in the store sometime in the future. Right here in this little hole right here, you have your trigger for this gun. Because this gun is gas blowback, it is very reminiscent to that of a real firearm. So it has a brake, a wall, and everything, and it is very snappy. So there is not a lot of travel on this trigger before you break the wall and the gun fires, and you are able to spam the trigger very easily. Speaking of this gun being gas blowback, the nozzle on the inside of this gun is slightly enlarged. So with that enlarged air nozzle, you are going to get much harder recoil, which adds to the realism of this weapon, which is what I believe Modfiy was going for with the exact scale model of the real PP-2000 and all of the functions that work exactly the same as the other one does. However, that increased recoil does increase gas consumption, so this gun isn't the most efficient on gas. Moving down to some of the fire controls on this gun, over here on the left side is where you will find your fire selector. It is very reminiscent of the fire selector from an AK, so in the top position it is on safe, in the middle position it is on full auto, and the very bottom position is semi. And just to the left of that is your magazine release. Just like most other gas blowbacks, you press on the magazine release, the magazine will drop out freely. On the right side of the gun, up towards the top, right below the Picatinny rail, there is an ejection port. This serves no other purpose other than just to add looks and some realism to the gun. So every time you shoot, the bolt will cycle, and that dust cover will open as if it were ejecting a shell, a casing. And unlike most other gas blowbacks, the bolt does not lock back all the way when it is empty. It will half cock, and then when you remove the magazine, it will slide back forward again. And finally, at the rear of the gun here, you have this folding metal stock. It is not the most comfortable thing ever, but again, this is a compact weapon, so the stock's got to be a little bit smaller, especially since it does fold over. And the way you do that is you pull up on it and it flips over to the side and it locks pretty firmly into place. And then to get it back into its original position, you just yank on it and it will pull out and it'll lock back in. A very interesting feature that Modfiy replicated from the real version of the PP-2000 is the fact that you can remove the stock altogether and replace it with an extended magazine. It's a little weird, but the extended magazines for this gun, which are, I believe, 56 rounds, can be stuck in place of the stock and be used as a stock. Another really neat feature is the ability to use a QD holster for this gun. So similarly to how they have holsters for regular handguns, these PDWs also have holsters for them. When you buy the holster, it comes with this little notch that you will replace the standard sling attachment point with. And then it adds a little nub to the side of your gun. That is what locks into the holster. And then to get it out of the holster, you just pull up and it is free to use again. Moving on to the barrel assembly on this gun. Stock, it has a 150 millimeter inner barrel on this gun, which is quite short. However, they do have aftermarket barrels coming out, so you can extend that barrel a little bit. That will also help boost your FPS, range, accuracy, all that good stuff. The bucking that is in this gun is a new Modfiy Predator bucking that is supposed to give you a better air seal, so you're not leaking as much gas, and better accuracy when shooting this gun long distances. Speaking of the hop up, the way you adjust the hop up on this gun, inside the box there's a very long Allen key, and you will take that Allen key and shove it through the small little hole on the bottom of the grip right here, up into the gun, and you'll twist it one way to get more hop, and you'll twist it the other way to get less hop. After taking these guns back to the chronograph, filling the magazines up with .20 gram BBs and Valken green gas, at the beginning of a fresh magazine, this gun is shooting around 380 FPS, and then obviously being a gas gun, as you shoot it, it dropped down and finally ended at 245 FPS. Remember, the temperature on gas guns will vary your FPS quite a bit. Here, when we were recording this, it was 64 degrees outside. So if it was a little bit hotter out, we'd probably get more FPS out of this. And then obviously, if you're using the CO2 magazines, you're obviously going to get a higher FPS out of these things. And then after flicking this thing to full auto, it shot 27 rounds per second. However, it is not able to get through an entire mag when just solely dumping full auto. Like I mentioned earlier, the enlarged nozzle that gives this thing more recoil, it does use up more gas than if you were to just keep this thing on semi. So it gets through about half the magazine and then it's just done. But on semi, you're very, very capable of getting through an entire magazine of BBs on this gun. In my personal opinion, these guns are absolutely amazing. I kind of want one myself. They're different. They have a very different look to them. They shoot absolutely amazing. I'm kind of curious to see what kind of range one of these things can get out of it. And they are the perfect counter to the KMP9, which is another gas blowback SMG of a similar profile. And again, they're just not something that you've ever seen before, because nobody has ever made one in airsoft before. So whether you're looking to put together a really cool Russian kit, or just want a gun to run around and shoot your friends with, the Modfiy PP-2000 is the perfect one for you. And obviously here in front of me, they have 3 different colors available. They have this Stormtrooper white one that is only for the bravest of airsofters, because this thing has already gotten dirty and we've had it for only a couple of hours. I had this very nice hot pink one right here with matching anodized metal parts, which is pretty cool. They didn't go the cheap route and just paint them pink or just keep them black. The whole entire thing is pink. And then obviously you have your standard black one right here, which we have done up with the amplifier and the reflex sight, but obviously they will come without that stuff. The pricing on these guns, the pink and the white one are $364.95, and the black one right here in the middle is $338.95. And they're all available in store and online at StampedeAirsoft.com. As always, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out our Facebook and Instagram page to stay up to date with all the cool stuff that we're getting in at the shop. And I will see you guys next time.